Welcome to the Executive Read. It's a special segment of the India HR Dialogue podcast. And here, we dig into some powerful ideas that can really shape your leadership journey. Today, we are going on a deep dive into the timeless strategies of military masters. We'll be exploring insights from Sun Tzu's The Art of War, Machiavelli's The Art of War, and Jomini's The Art of War. If you like unearthing wisdom from kind of unexpected places, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode.
It's fascinating how principles developed centuries ago for the battlefield still hold relevance. In today's boardrooms and negotiations, it speaks to the enduring nature of strategy and human dynamics, no matter the setting.
It makes you wonder if those ancient generals were also dealing with tight budgets, office politics.
Maybe in a different form we'll get them. Well, let's start. With Sun Tzu, his Art of War emphasizes resourcefulness. He even suggests you should live off the enemy while bringing your own war materials.
Wow.
Imagine applying that today. It's like a startup, leveraging existing resources instead of trying to build everything from scratch.
So you're saying it's about being scrappy and making the most of what you have. I can definitely see how that applies to any leader facing resource constraints.
Absolutely. Sun Tzu highlights the importance of adaptability and efficiency. He also talks about deception and surprise, advising to, and I quote, appear at points the enemy must defend. March swiftly where you're not expected. Think about a well-executed marketing campaign that seemingly comes out of nowhere and captures everyone's attention.
It's like catching your competition off guard, hitting them where they least expect.
Exactly. Targeting your competitors' weaknesses and exploiting their blind spots can be incredibly effective. In today's fast-paced business environment, the ability to pivot quickly and disrupt the status quo is crucial.
And then there's this fascinating concept from Sun Tzu about robbing an army of its spirit. Not just about brute force, but about dismantling the enemy's will to fight. Can you imagine how powerful that could be in a modern context, say in a high-stakes negotiation or even a tight job market?
Imagine a competitor whose morale is so shaken that they're practically conceding defeat before the negotiation even begins. Sun Tzu understood the psychological dimension of conflict, recognizing that breaking an opponent's spirit can be just as effective as any physical attack.
Let's shift gears now to Machiavelli. His Art of War delves into the nitty-gritty of organization and training. He dissects the composition of an army, comparing specialized units like the heavily armored troops and the swift veleti, who are like ancient Roman special forces. It's almost like looking at the different specialized teams we have in modern organizations, each with their unique strengths.
Machiavelli recognized that different situations call for different skills and expertise. He stressed rigorous training to develop speed, dexterity, and strength, not just brute force, but adaptable skills, honed through practice. Think about the value of professional development and ongoing training in today's workforce.
It's about having the right people with the right skills, but also constantly sharpening those skills to stay ahead of the curve.
Precisely. And like Machiavelli, we can't forget the importance of discipline and a well-defined structure, he wrote. If an army marches, encamps, and fights in a regular and practical manner, the captain retains his honor. This translates beautifully to the importance of a strong company culture, clear communication, well-defined roles, and efficient processes.
If you're enjoying this exploration of timeless strategies, we highly recommend checking out the full texts of these incredible books. We've included links in the show notes where you can purchase them and delve deeper into these fascinating concepts.
It's like having a well-oiled machine where everyone knows their part and works together seamlessly. That's the kind of organizational discipline Machiavelli championed.
Yeah, let's bring in our third military mastermind, Almanas. His work bridges the gap between ancient and modern warfare with a keen focus on lines of operation, bases, and reserves. He really takes strategic thinking to a larger scale.
What's crucial about Jomini's work is the emphasis on understanding the landscape, both literally and figuratively. He meticulously analyzed how physical terrain influenced military movements, but he also applied that thinking to strategic positioning in a market or industry. Where you are in relation to your competitors can make all the difference.
It's about knowing the lay of the land.
Yeah.
And choosing your battles strategically, wouldn't you say?
Exactly. Jomini dissects the advantages and disadvantages of interior versus exterior lines, which really boils down to resource allocation. Do you spread yourself thin, trying to be everywhere at once? Or do you focus on key areas where you can achieve a decisive victory? Jomini forces us to consider those trade-offs.
He also dives into the debate about fortified positions, those entrenched camps and defensive lines. Are they a source of strength? Or potential weakness? Are you better off hunkering down or staying agile?
Think about it. In a modern business context, are you building a fortress around your existing market share? Or are you nimble enough to adapt to new challenges and opportunities? Jomini's work prompts us to think critically about the long-term consequences of playing it safe versus staying flexible.
So we've got Sun Tzu's focus on adaptability and deception, Machiavelli's emphasis on structure and training, and Jomini's expansion into large-scale strategic thinking. It's amazing how these principles, developed centuries apart, still resonate with modern challenges.
It's like they're building blocks, each one contributing to a comprehensive understanding of strategy. Sun Tzu provides the foundation with his insights into human psychology and the fluid nature of conflict. Then Machiavelli adds a framework for organizational strength through discipline and clear processes. Finally, Jomini takes these principles and applies them to a more complex, interconnected world, anticipating the challenges of modern warfare. And by extension, modern business.
And speaking of the modern world, we can't ignore the elephant in the room, the impact of technology. From artificial intelligence to global communication networks, advancements have drastically reshaped the landscape of warfare and business too, for that matter. But amidst all that change, do those timeless human elements still hold true?
Absolutely. While technology has undeniably transformed the battlefield and the business world, the underlying principles of strategy, leadership, and decision-making remain surprisingly consistent. Think about it. The speed of information might be faster, the scale of operations might be larger, and the tools might be more sophisticated. But the core drivers of human behavior, things like fear, ambition, the desire for victory, even plain old ego, those haven't changed.
It's fascinating to consider how those unchanging human elements still shape the course of events, even in a world dominated by technology.
Precisely. And while we've been focusing on the strategic lessons from these military minds, it's important to remember that they weren't just about winning at all costs. All three grappled with the ethical dimensions of warfare, recognizing that victory without honor or consideration for the consequences is a hollow one.
So while we're drawing parallels to business and leadership, we can't forget about the human element and the responsibility that comes with wielding power and influence.
Exactly. These military thinkers remind us that true leadership involves not only strategic brilliance, but also a strong moral compass.
Before we wrap up, let's connect these timeless principles to the everyday challenges our listeners face. What can they take away from these military masterminds and apply to their own lives?
Well, I think a great place to start is with preparation. Sun Tzu was all about knowing the battlefield, anticipating challenges, and having your resources in order. Whether you're launching a new project, heading into a negotiation, or even just trying to navigate a tricky situation at work, being prepared can make all the difference.
Yeah, it's like that saying, failing to plan is planning to fail.
Exactly.
Sun Tzu would definitely agree with that. And building on that idea of preparation, we can't forget Machiavelli's emphasis on continuous improvement. Just having the right people isn't enough. You need to invest in their development, sharpen their skills, and make sure they're equipped to adapt to new challenges.
It's about staying ahead of the curve, just like those ancient armies constantly training and refining their tactics.
Right. And speaking of adapting, that brings us to Jomini's insight about understanding the landscape. Whether it's the competitive landscape of your industry or the political terrain of your organization, knowing where you stand and where the potential pitfalls lie is crucial for making strategic decisions.
Yeah, it's about being aware of your surroundings, identifying potential threats and opportunities, and knowing when to advance and when to hold back. Jomini would tell you that sometimes the most strategic move is knowing when not to engage.
So we've got preparation from Sun Tzu, continuous improvement from Machiavelli, and strategic awareness from Jomini. Those are three pretty solid takeaways for anyone looking to up their leadership game.
Absolutely. And if we circle back to Sun Tzu's point about the psychological dimension of conflict, there's a valuable lesson there too. Whether you're dealing with a competitor, a difficult colleague, or even your own internal doubts, understanding the psychology at play can give you a significant advantage.
It's about knowing how to influence, how to inspire, and sometimes even how to dismantle someone's negativity or resistance. It's almost like a form of mental jujitsu.
Exactly. And while these military strategists might not have had the language for it, they clearly understood the power of emotional intelligence and how it can be a weapon just as potent as any sword or shield.
So there you have it. Wisdom from the battlefield applied to the boardroom and beyond. We've got preparation, continuous improvement, strategic awareness, and a healthy dose of psychological savvy. If you can master those 4 elements, you'll be well on your way to leading with confidence and achieving your goals no matter what challenges come your way.
And who knows, maybe you'll even find yourself channeling your inner Sun Tzu or Machiavelli in your next big meeting.
Ha, that's a good one. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the minds of military masters, we highly recommend exploring their works in more depth. We've included links in the show notes where you can purchase the books. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future episodes of the Executive Read part of the India HR Dialogue podcast. We'll be back soon with more insights to help you navigate the complexities of leadership and achieve lasting success.